Yeah, we got to flush it, and we got a short week with the Chargers coming in. So that's what we talked about. We know we got to play a lot better, got to improve in a lot of areas in a short time. It's going to be a lot of mental preparation going into Sunday's game before our bye, so we've got to find a way to get it corrected.
Kudos to the San Fran 49ers, but, for us, it wasn't good enough at all.
I feel like guys played till the end, played hard till the end.
No, I don't.
That was head coach Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals, followed by Budda Baker in the locker room after a brutal loss to the 49ers on Monday Night Football, 38-10. Before we dive into the game, I'm going to knock out a DraftKings ad. Garrett, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this. Your kicker's lining up for an onside kick. The chances of regaining possession are slim. The stakes are high and the tensions are higher. Your pulse racing. He kicks and you watch as the ball lands. Make every play feel this exciting with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And their unbelievable offers. Right now, new customers can make any $5 NFL bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Check this out. In addition to the usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Garrett, you like a game this weekend?
Yeah, I like the Lions plus 9.5 against the Bills. It's in Buffalo. And they had all that snow, so hopefully the snow Josh Allen down and Amon-Ra goes crazy.
There you go. I like it. Lions won 3 straight. To make things even sweeter, you can throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TPPN to get $200 in free bets if your team wins. Just place a $5 bet on any football game only at DraftKings Sportsbook using code TPPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right. Now we got that out of the way. That was a shit pumping. Initial thoughts.
That sucked ass. There is no quarterback controversy. O-line sucks. Rondale got hurt.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good at all. Lots of really uglies. Let's say a couple positive things. Really, I think can only think of 2 positive things. Greg Dotch, first 100-yard career game, and DeAndre Hopkins also had 9 catches for 94 yards or something like that. Dortch, obviously, you mentioned Moore got hurt. Dortch got his chance, and as he did earlier in the season, he stepped up. 9 catches for 103 yards. Like I said, Hopkins, 9 for 91. Dortch, I think the game was actually pretty close at this point. Had that big 67-yard quick catch and run, making people miss, getting downfield. He's a fucking football player. You get the ball in his hands, and he makes plays. I think you had a tweet about his playing time.
Yeah, it's at this point it's hard to not, it's hard to keep denying him playing time. Like he needs to be over AJ Green. He needs snaps. I mean, he does get whenever he gets the ball in his hands.
And we thought the same thing originally though at the beginning of the season, like before Rondale came back, you were like, okay, yeah, Rondale's coming back, but you should get snaps over AJ Green, right? And then that didn't really happen. But who knows how long Moore is out. I don't think we have any word on the injury yet the following day. So we'll see what happens there. But Greg Dotch is a baller. DeAndre Hopkins continues to get separation. Doesn't matter who his quarterback is. I think he had 14 targets yesterday. And everybody that didn't have him on their top 10 receivers list heading into the season is a fucking moron because he still got it. Age 30 and all. Sensational, as he likes to say. You mentioned it. O-line was terrible. Really, really bad. Breaking news that came out today was that Sean Kugler was fired Sunday night before the game. They sent him home, sent him on a plane back home. Apparently there was rumored of an incident that happened. It kind of reminded me just exactly of the Eno situation. Something happened. This person isn't here anymore. That's all that's left.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals have always been really good at keeping things under wraps. If if it's injuries or if it's whatever, So it was definitely concerning, whenever your O-line is this depleted and is this short-staffed, to have the coach of that group now be fired and let go and told to leave on a plane. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely concerning.
Just strange. It's just hilarious that the Cardinals willingly signed up to have HBO in there filming every single thing that's going on. And then we've got all this fucking weird shit happening that they're going to have to cut out. There's no way, if Bidwell didn't want the Eno stuff out there, then I'm sure whatever happened with this is rare. You don't see this kind of thing where you see head coach get fired midseason or a coordinator or something like that. But Kugler's been impressive. I think we talked about him on the show before on how well he's done with the offensive line. He's a respected guy across the NFL. So it's strange. It does make you scratch your head. Maybe Kugler wasn't happy with things that were going on. Maybe he spoke his mind and things maybe got – I'm completely speculating. I don't know if that was too far of a reach. But it's weird. Apparently it was completely non-football related. So it's odd, but who knows. Said no quarterback controversy. Colt McCoy, I thought he was actually kind of serviceable. I think serviceable is the word that I used for Colt McCoy last year when we found out he was starting. Solid. We'll see what happens. Maybe won't light it up and go win you a game, but we'll see what he can do. He's 24 of 34, 218 yards and a pick. That wasn't really his fault. The ball went off of James Conner's hand. You know what's funny about that play with James Conner? So it was raining or whatever, and he didn't have gloves on, and he was in the backfield. He's got the turf tape, no gloves, like classic, like old school looking running back. I was about to tweet like, damn, James Conner looks like a fucking badass out there with the no gloves and just like the tape on. And then like 2 plays later, he had his bare hand, tried to one hand snag that ball and it went off his hand into the defender. I was like, well, I probably won't tweet that out because maybe he needed gloves on that play. But cool. I thought it kind of looked badass with the rain coming. James Conner didn't have a great game. 14 carries, 42 yards, and a touchdown. I don't think anyone would have had a great game behind that offensive line. I don't think people were kind of pissed bringing up like, oh, we cut Eno for this. Like, you don't think Eno could do any? It's like, no, I don't think Eno could do any better. I don't think Barry Sanders could do better. I don't think Jim Brown or Emmitt Smith. That offensive line was missing 4 of its 5 starters and run plays, pass plays. Colt was catching a snap and getting it out of his hand almost immediately. It was very ugly.
Yeah, so Colt McCoy, he was. I agree. I think I agree with the opinion with what you said about him. He was serviceable. I would hate to see what this game would look like without DeAndre Hopkins. It looked like he kind of leaned, like you said, 14 targets or 12 targets or whatever. Yeah, it was not definitely not on Colt's shoulders or his fault. It's just you couldn't. I don't know if there's a quarterback in the league that would have pulled out a win with that O-line.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely I don't think would have looked much different with Kyler out there, especially with whatever hamstring deal he's got going on. So obviously, yeah, Kyler was inactive. The video of him sprinting full speed before the game was a little odd, though. I think it had a lot of fans kind of scratching their heads. A lot of diehard Kyler guys. We're both, well, I don't know where you stand. I am still on the Kyler wagon. I'm not going to jump off until he's not wearing a uniform. That definitely rubbed me the wrong way. I even mentioned it last week, where I thought it was kind of interesting how Buddha was out there a week after a high ankle sprain, and then you're missing 2 straight games because of a tweak in your hamstring, an injury that you played the rest of the game through when it happened, and now you're sprinting pregame. So it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. Garrett, I know you have an opinion on Kyler missing today's
definitely
game,
sucks to see.
Game.
Definitely sucks to see your quarterback who is too hurt to play in the most important game of the season sprinting before the game. In my opinion, this is a game that he has to play in if he can, any means necessary. And he didn't. He couldn't get up for it. So I don't really know. I mean, it's like kind of like you said, he's in a Cardinals uniform. I mean, I'm still gonna be on the wagon. I have to be kind of, but it's just little things here and there that just kind of inch me a little bit further and further away from as to being as high as I was, at the beginning of last year, whenever he was playing like an MVP. It's just little things like I just don't know how you don't get up for this game. Like it I don't know.
I stand with you on like where we started with Kyler and that immediate like love connection where it's like, oh my God, we've got our fucking guy. And you're at like this, you're at 100%. And then like he gets hurt again last season, kind of drops a little bit. And then he comes back and they lose however many games down the stretch and it goes down a little. And then they just get demolished in the wild card round. It goes down a little bit. And you want so bad for it to be the guy and you're pulling for it so bad. But you've kind of got these things in the back of your head that are saying, not saying he's not the guy, but pointing flaws in that he might not be. I don't know. It's a hard thing that you kind of tussle with as a fan, because I'm sure if you're not an Arizona Cardinal fan, you're just like, oh, Kyler Murray, he's burnt, he's toast. He's not a franchise quarterback or whatever. There may be some people that think that, but as through like our lens as Cardinals fans, I still see him as that 2021 and 2020 beginning of the season player that was a fucking MVP favorite. So it's hard when you see things like that where you feel like he needs to be out there and he's just not. But yeah. I mentioned the offensive line injuries. It wasn't just the line. Obviously, Kyler, Humphreys, Justin Pugh, Rodney Hudson, Hollywood Brown, Rondé Moore went out after one play, Byron Murphy, Zach Ertz, and there's more. There was going into it, you had hope, but there was no way the Cardinals were winning this football game with the guys that they put out there. And that's a whole nother conversation about moves that Steve Keim has made to put a roster that's able to succeed out there for Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals roster in a way kind of reminds me of like a Los Angeles Lakers roster. You have some big names that are sort of, on the downslide, down later ends of their careers, and you don't really have the depth in the bench that the Lakers have no bench, but they have the big names still. Whereas most of their big names are kind of on the tail end. I get the same vibe. I don't know. It just seems like
I get that.
This isn't a roster that's built for a deep playoff run. Never really was. Even at full strength, I mean, at full strength, it's a good looking roster on paper, but you see how quickly things can go south. It's because there's this O line is probably one of the worst O line the Cardinals have fielded in their it's terrible. You have that 54 who they featured on Hard Knocks.
Let's hit a Smith.
Was he undrafted rookie or is he? I mean, whenever you have an undrafted rookie, seventh round. Sorry, whenever you have a seventh round pick starting, in week whatever it is, 10 or 11, it's tough luck. Tough luck for Keim.
Yeah. I don't know. You just, I get all the Cliff hate, and I get that it's screens on 3rd and 17, and it's dumb timeouts, and it's all that. But at some point, you have to look at what's put out there. And we talked about this after the Chiefs game, I think, where I said there's a foundation that you build through the draft and development, and then there's, let's go add on top DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt. Like, those are supposed to be like the toppings, like the cherries on top, the whipped cream, the ice cream, like the foundation. It's such a fat guy metaphor. But like that's what it's supposed to be built. And it started to turn around there. Zaven Collins, Isaiah Simmons had a really good few weeks. Myjai Sanders was getting playing time. Cameron Thomas was getting playing time. Myjai Sanders and Cameron Thomas each played 9 snaps in this game. In a game where you had 3 pressures on Jimmy Garoppolo, those 2 pass rushers couldn't get out there, but you couldn't find a way to get them on the field. I don't know. It's just, and I've been kind of defending the defense a little bit because it hasn't been, the numbers don't look great, but it seems like they were making plays when they needed to. And the numbers were probably affected because the offense was just not putting together drives. So they were winded. They're constantly on the field. So that also puts them in a tough spot, but there was no excuses in this one. all the injuries that I named that were on the offense. Yeah, you were missing Byron Murphy, but that's about it. Like that's with the rest of your defense was fairly healthy, and to give up 38 and really they were up 17-10 going into half. The first drive when the Niners came out, they ran 7 plays, 79 yards, and a touchdown. All runs. They're like, you know what? Elijah Mitchell, you get in there. We're going to rest McCaffrey. Boom, boom, boom. 10 yards, 12 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards. And then they finish it off with a 39-yard Deebo Samuel reverse or whatever it was. They came out and they just punched you right in the fucking mouth. And I'll say this.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Go ahead. No, you go.
That's kind of been the moral of the story for this Cardinals defense for the past, I mean, ever since we've been doing this podcast, really. Yeah. They make plays, but they're terrible against the run. I mean, they're bottom 5 in the league against the run. They always have been since we started doing this. You saw this week, they just didn't make plays. Like there was no plays to be made. So, I mean, they just could not. They've never been good at stopping the run here this past 2-3 years ever since Kyler's been there. It's always been terrible. Excluding the week 1 against the Titans in 2021. That's about the best run defense I've seen.
We held Henry to like 55 yards. That was fucking sick. Remember that?
Everything other than that has been fucking terrible. And that's like whenever the game started, you know, after the Cardinals went on a fucking 3-and-out and punted the ball to start the game, the defense came on the field, and I was like, you know, more excited to watch the defense than the offense just because you have Budda Baker, you have Isaiah Simmons, you don't have Byron Murphy, but you know, you have Zaven Collins, you have things to look forward to, young players to watch, and I felt like there's some kind of mantra and some kind of swagger about the defense. It's mostly just comes out to be Budda Baker, who I feel that towards who puts off that feeling. It's not really reciprocated throughout the whole defense. So, but yeah, they've always been bad to run.
Not great. So the Niners might actually be really good, and I know you disagree with this. You probably say it's the Rams, but I think the Niners are I hate the Niners more than any other team in our division, and I think that is mostly a deep-seated jealousy. And that's because the 49ers are a historically good franchise. And here in 2022, they've got a physical football team, a great coach. They are awesome in the trenches up front on both sides of the ball. They're going to run the football down your throat. They're not going to commit stupid penalties, which I think we kind of got screwed a little bit referee wise, but that doesn't make 28 points. So we won't get into that, but they're sound, technical. They do the right things, and they always fucking have. Going back, there was a couple rough years here in the late 20 teens for them before Shanahan arrives. And then there was a weird stretch in the mid 2000s, right when Alex Smith got there, before they went to that Super Bowl against the Ravens in like 2012. Other than those 2 small little stretches, the Niners have been good since like the fucking 80s. They're always right there. And I think it's just like the fact that that's what you want your team to be. That drives me fucking crazy. I want to be that. So I fucking hate them. And they also have very likable players this year. You've got Christian McCaffrey, who is so fun to watch. You always rooted for him with the Panthers because they were kind of a shitty little team. And you're like, oh, well, McCaffrey's there. Hopefully he does good. And then you've got George Kittle, who seems to be the nicest guy in the fucking world, a stud player, a fun player. And then Deebo Samuel, you can't keep your eyes off him when he's on the field. Like he's running around all over the place. A wide receiver that plays like fucking Bo Jackson, running people over. And even Jimmy G now. Jimmy G's got this kind of redemption story going for him. He was kind of cast away and like, wait, no, we want you back. And he's got this cool. He threw 4 touchdown passes yesterday. It was like 20 of 29 for 250 or something like that. Like
he threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half, right?
I think 3 were in the second half. 3 in the second half, but
so it was one or the other.
Yeah, and it sucks because I want to hate him so bad, and I have always hated him. But this team here is very likable, which is annoying, and it's a hate, but I respect the shit out of him because that's how I want our franchise to be built. like from the bottom up. You find a coach, he sets the tone, builds a culture, or just really carries on a culture that's already been there. Going from even Mike Singletary had heart there. They were bad years, but when he was there, he had this umph to him, to Jim Harbaugh now, to Kyle Shanahan. Like, I don't know. It's a jealousy thing. It's a hate, but hey, I kind of respect the shit out of you thing.
Yep, I get it.
Other than that, yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of bright spots. But I don't know. Where do we go from here? Let's say, try and keep. What's one thing you are looking forward to seeing down the stretch? What's one thing that if this happens, I won't feel as shitty going into the offseason?
If
I think,
Kyler
before you
plays,
go, I think we'd have to win 5 of 6 or win 6 straight to get in the playoffs. And I'll be honest with ourselves, that's not likely. So go ahead.
if Kyler plays the rest of the year and doesn't miss any time, if he can stay healthy for the rest of the year, that and if he can play even remotely at the same level he was at before, it's going to be a long fucking off season if this is the kind of note that we get left on at the end of the season. So I guess just any sort of life or any sort of anything from him is kind of the goal at this point.
Just want to see
Anything
him fight.
to build off of. Yeah, that's really.
Want to see him fight. You want to see them all fight. Like their back was against the wall the last 2 weeks. Like it was do or die. Honestly, I'd say even going back to the Seattle game when they were 2-3 and 3-3, they won. That would have brought them to 500. They lost that one. The last couple of weeks, it was okay. This is probably it. And I know it's not playoff elimination time, and we might even say that again if they win 3 straight here or something. But if we're all being honest with ourselves, this was the year they fought and they won the first one, and then there was just not fight. You heard it in the Buddha clip earlier. Very disappointing, like, because you know how much he puts into all this shit. And when he's calling him out, you've seen a couple clips now, the Hard Knocks one and that, where he's fucking tired. He just looks like a tired man, and I don't blame him, because when you're putting that much effort out there and you're not getting it from the guys that are around you, that shit sucks. That's got to be demoralizing. And you really just hope that doesn't weigh on him and want him to get the fuck out of here.
Could you imagine?
He is there as the Cardinals.
If he were to leave, I don't know. That would be tough. It would be tough to continue a fandom of this team if you were to leave. Just because, could you imagine if this franchise is so shitty and the culture of it is so negative that a player of that caliber who cares that much just can't take it, just has to leave because he can't take it.
You know what the worst part is? I mean, it's a trend. We've already seen it. Most recently, Chandler Jones. I know he's a little older. Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson, Calais Campbell. Like those are like Peterson, Mathieu, Calais Campbell. Those are like 3 potential Ring of Honor guys all in the past decade that it didn't work out. Like you pray for a better ending here for Buddha Baker. Not ending. He's still in his prime. We've got a ways to go before we have to worry about that. He's kind of locked up, but you want the Cardinals to be good, not only because they're your fucking team and like that's who you pull for, but you care about those guys that you know care as much as you do. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's tough for Buddha Baker. Pray for Buddha Baker.
I need to get a Buddha Baker jersey. Buddha Baker jersey.
I've been waiting. Hey, you know what it is? It's almost fucking new uniform season. We can get a kickstart on that. We're about right there. 2 more losses in a row, and we're full on. All right, off-season mode. Hey, can we at least get new uniforms for next year? Once we get new uniforms, Buddha Baker will be the jersey that I buy. So yeah. I think overall, all in all, the Cardinals needed to keep this like a ugly 19-16, 21-17 game for them to have a chance. And like we said, the defense just didn't do their job. Not that the offense lit anyone's hair on fire, but it wasn't great. 38 points. That's a lot. Is that the most? Is that the most we've given up? No, Chiefs scored 44. So it's two really bad performances.
Yeah, it's hard to win a ball game when you let up 38 points. No pressure up front. I mean, it was kind of. I think you talked about that a little bit earlier, but It's so makes it so much harder on a secondary whenever, as you know, it's pretty common knowledge by now. But if you have no pass rush, it's hard to stop a pass rush. If you have no pass rush, if you have no push up front, then it's so hard to defend against a running game. You're relying so heavy on that second level to come up and make all these plays whenever you have all these, whenever Shanahan has all these crazy different blocking packages, it's tough whenever you get no pressure up front. That's kind of what all has to start. We didn't have that at all.
Yeah. Now, like I said earlier, the Niners, that's what they are. They're tough on up front, both sides of the ball, do their jobs. And the Cardinals, we should have seen this game a mile away. I mean, that's the biggest weak spots on their team right now is both sides of the lines, DNO. So yeah, you gotta flush the tape. I think you gotta flush the tape and move on. And got the Chargers on Sunday. You have them touted as a bona fide fraud, correct?
Yeah.
Are you a fraud if you're 5-5?
You are if you're the Chargers. If you're 5-5, you have
because
Khalil
of the
Mack.
hype.
Well, I guess
Khalil Mack,
Joey Bosa's hurt also. Keenan Allen's been hurt too. But he's never been warranted the hype that he's gotten. He's never proved.
It is kind of interesting how that goes.
Yeah,
it's.
I've been saying
he's been without Mike Williams and Keenan Allen most of the season. So I guess I'll give him that. Actually, I think Mike Williams has only missed 2 games.
Right. Yeah.
You saw what Joshua Palmer did.
Yeah. I mean, he has people to throw to.
Austin Eckler.
He also has the best running back in the league. So
Austin Eckler has 70 catches almost this year. I think he's at 67 catches already.
I forget how many touchdowns he has. He has an insane number of touchdowns.
He scored 31 touchdowns over the past 2 years or something, most in the league. He's a machine, and I traded for him in fantasy at the beginning of the year. He had the first 2 weeks he had 6 and 9 points, and the guy was trying to shop him around already. I was like, okay, I'll give you Aaron Jones and Michael Pittman for fucking Austin Eckler. Oh my God, I kind of fucking fleece his ass. I text him every time he has a good game, send him a screenshot. What idiot would trade Austin Eckler? When they put that graphic up, the 31 touchdowns, is like, you'd have to be a fucking moron to get rid of this guy. But yeah, so good for me. But yeah, no, the Chargers, they are probably frauds, but that is a lot of scary players on their offense.
Well, I don't really know if I call them frauds because they are 5-5. They're at 500. They're playing as what I would expect them to be.
Well, for your standards, but going into the season every year, it's okay, the Chargers, man, they've got these players. They're going to be good. They're kind of like the new Cowboys in that way. But the defense, like you said, no Joey Bosa. They still have Khalil Mack. Derwin James is just a 6'3" version with 50 extra pounds of Budda Baker. So that's pretty frightening. If that guy can stay healthy, fucking look out. I always think about him because the year we drafted Josh Rosen, we took Derwin James went 6 picks later. And it was could you imagine if we just skipped out on the whole Rosen thing, took Derwin James, and then still only won 1 or 2 games with Sam Bradford? And then you'd have Budda and fucking Derwin James back there. But Jalen Thompson isn't a bad consolation prize. So
no, I agree.
What else? We mentioned Kugler fired. Congratulations, Anquon Boldin. Can we get a clap it up for Anquon Boldin? Anquon Boldin is a semifinalist for the class of 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Boldin, I think, retired what year? Who did he retire with? The Niners? Something like that. Anyway, who cares? Super Bowl champion, a part of, for my money, the best wide receiver duo of this century with Fitzgerald in those 2000s years, part of the Super Bowl team. Tough as shit, always was. I think a fan favorite for a long time. So congratulations to Boldin. Another player that kind of got soured at the end and ended up leaving. So awesome. Now that that's in my mind, I'm thinking of every great player we've ever had doing that. So whatever. But yeah. So congrats, Anquon Boldin. I hope you get in. I think this is probably his first. Is this the second year on the ballot? Maybe.
How many years do you have to wait?
It's 5 years. So he was gone before 2018. I bet he retired in 2016. Really? So he might not be a first ballot, but he's a semifinalist this year. I think he should be in. Held the record for most catches as a rookie. He was the fastest player to get X amount of catches or X amount of yards by age 24, 25, 26. Before all these, like Fitzgerald broke that record, then Julio did, then Calvin Johnson did. So as the game kind of evolves, you see new guys breaking those kind of records. But Boldin was a beast. So we hope you get in, Q. Other than that, like we said, Chargers, bye. And then who's after that? 12, 13 Chargers. What's funny is on the screen, there's a thing that says upcoming weeks, but I can't see it currently. Chargers bye. And then Patriots on Monday Night Football again. We'll have to get buddy Ian on and do a little bet or something for that game. Big Patriots fan. That'd be a second time on the podcast. Remember when he had to call on and say the Cardinals were the best team in the league?
Yep.
What a time. What a time.
The first ever recurring member.
Yep. Classic. Okay. Well, hey, we won't keep you guys. We appreciate you listening this long. Like, subscribe, and download.
Like, subscribe, download. If you don't like, subscribe, and download, I'm going to bust this glass over my head. I need to feed my...
Don't do it, bro.
I need to pay my rent this week. If you guys don't like, subscribe, and download, I will be homeless by the end of the week. So please do that. I'll tell you what. Out. I've been saving this for something special if we ever needed a boost in ratings. Give me hold on one second.
Holy shit, who knows where this is going? Like I said, new uniform season. Go check out my mock uniforms at Red Sea Trent on Twitter. Got some pretty sick looking ones.
If there's been anyone that made it,
if
there's anyone that made it this far in listening, all you have to do is you have to go on Twitter and at me. All you have to write back is at, just put out a tweet that says at AZCardsG. What's a code word? Come up with a good code word. That's gonna be random.
Two birds.
You have to tweet at AZCardsG, two birds, and you will win a Kyler Murray rookie card, because I have about 600 that I invested in that have all
this dude sold his stocks for Kyler Murray rookie cards, and that shit's
we're down bad. We're down bad, ladies and gents.
The value of those has plummeted.
I have a couple different ones we can do. This one's one of the better ones. These are cool
good.
too.
This is not just a show off for you here.
Sure,
sick brag. Sick brag. Nice football cards.
If anybody has made it this far, tweet at AZCardsG, two birds, and I will personally send you a Kyler Murray rookie card.
There you have it. Listener. There you have it, folks. It can't be mom either. Sorry, you can't have it.
Yeah, mom, you don't count.
Little brother. Yeah,
or little brother, you don't count either.
All right, quite a promotion there at the end of the podcast. All right, 4-7, only up from here. Let's see how it all shakes out, ladies and gents. Final message, Garrett.
Stay positive. Dancing is life. Inside joke. That's right. But yeah, on the Los Angeles. Something we also didn't say. Max Williams played today.
Woohoo! Congrats, Max, making it all the way back.
Yep, he's all the way back, which is cool. He's a estranged friend of the program, sort of, in a way.
Maybe he'll be on someday.
Maybe someday.
We've been saying that for 2 years.
Congrats to him for coming back. But other than that, no.
Sweet. All right. Till next time. Go Birds.